If going to the bathroom leaves you down in the dumps, then stay tuned because it's going to be a rootin' tootin' good time on this week's episode of the Nutrition Heretic Podcast when we talk with Bobby Edwards, the CEO of Squatty, Potty.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
If you're still confused about what to eat and not getting the results you thought you'd get by going organic, go to nutritionheretic.com and download the shit list of 7 health foods to avoid like the plague for free. The shit list details what health food companies want you to believe about the crap they peddle and why the real foods they're meant to replace are far better. Stop letting big health food dump all over you and download the shit list today.
Fat is bad for you.
I just pop a pill and I'm fine.
Meat is murder.
It's time for bad food punishment. It's time for real nourishment. It's time for the Nutrition Heretic.
The following program is provided as information only and may not be construed as medical or health advice. It is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. No action or inaction should be taken solely on the basis of the information provided here. Please consult with a licensed healthcare professional or doctor on any matter relating to your health and well-being. Hello and welcome to the Nutrition Heretic Podcast. This is Adrienne Hugh, the Nutrition Heretic, and today we have an episode that's a little bit of a crapshoot. And the reason why I know this is because every week we ask our listeners to tell us on social media, what questions do you have for our guest that's coming up? And every week you guys do not fail me, except for this week. And why? Because today's topic is a very taboo topic that nobody ever wants to talk about. I have had people lie to me, and my clients have lied to me. They say, "Oh no, I don't have that problem," but you can see the look in their eyes that they're lying, they're looking away, or they're otherwise trying to get distracted by answering this question. So, the big problem is that when people go to the bathroom, they don't look and they don't know what's going on back there. And they may even go to their doctor and say, "Hey, doc, I haven't had a good BM in a while. What do you think?" And they'll say, "Oh, that's normal for you." But let me tell you, you should be at least, it depends on the person. Some people go like after every meal, and then there's other people who might go once a day and it'll just be particularly voluminous that time. But there was a situation I had. I don't know if I should really tell this story, but there's a situation I had where somebody was asking me, she had cellulite and all these other digestive issues. And I said, "Well, it sounds to me like you're constipated." And she said, she's like, no, that's not it. It's got to be something else. And I knew what her diet was, and it was pretty shitty. So I said, whatever, this is your Kuliana. You can deal with this. You can, lie to me if you want or whatever. But what she didn't count on was that my then 1-year-old daughter wanted to go to the bathroom every time she went to the bathroom. And let's just say that she didn't look, and she left the telltale signs of what was going on with her. And indeed, she was constipated. So with that, our guest heretic today and the Lord of the Rim is Robert Edwards, the CEO of Squatty, Potty. Robert, Bobby, welcome.
Hi, Adrienne. So glad to be here. Lord of the Rim.
Yeah, Lord of the Rim. That's right. If you haven't heard that one before. Okay, so actually, yeah. I did get a question, and of course it came from my husband because that's what he and I talk about. He wants to know if the name Squatty Potty came out right away, or did you have to sit on that one a little while?
Well, there were a few runners up. Shit shelf, step and go, poop stoop. Of course the stool.
Right.
But when we came up with the name Squatty Potty because when you travel internationally, a lot of places don't have toilets. A hole in the ground. It's a squatty potty, And so that name just kind of stuck. And I was afraid of it because I felt it was a little childish, or that it would turn people off or mislead people thinking that it's for children.
Right.
But it was just so much fun to say.
And that's the thing, is that it is a subject, correct me if you believe I'm wrong, that I think we do need to approach with humor. Because it is so taboo. Nobody wants to talk about their crap.
Absolutely. Well, and it does, it obviously makes it easier to talk about, but poop is a conversation we need to be having. It's so important. We talk about diet, we talk about nutrition, we talk about so much what goes into our body. And nobody had, up until recently, was talking about what comes out, or how it comes out, or how often it comes out. And that's as important. And so, we've been doing this 5 years now, and we started when people were really, really it was really taboo to talk about poo. And I had many, online, I had many advertisements turned down. I had a lot of people turn me down because of the topic. And,
that's interesting. I mean, I don't know if you know about me much. I wrote a book called 50 Ways to Eat Cock. Right. healthy chicken recipes with balls, and I get turned down, and I can understand that. But poop, come on, like this is.
I love that. So, but poop, and so how do you change that, and how do you change society to really just? And it doesn't always have to be funny. It could just be like you're talking about your chicken, or you're talking about, whatever you want, but it should be normalized. And I think that Squatty Potty has been part of that conversation and part of that movement of changing the, perception or public thought on poop, which is so important.
Right, exactly. And, and this has been a pet peeve of mine. Like I described the one woman who was, trying to get some free consultation out of me, and then she didn't like the answer, right? But there's also, I've noticed this particularly with women who will say, well, I don't shit in public. I hold it until I go home. And I'm like, what are you, crazy? Like, why would you hold on to something your body obviously wants to get rid of?
Yeah. And then holding on to it.
It's so precious. It's so
we know that holding on to it is like, it exacerbates the problem. It perpetuates the problem.
Exactly.
When we should be going when we feel the need to go. And then, so many people are constipated, and being constipated is so unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable. It makes you miserable, and it's emotionally scarring.
Taxing, yeah. It's emotionally scarring in more than one way. There's we talked the taboo side of it, but there's also this, it's the autotoxicity of it, because you're not, your body wants to get rid of these toxins, and we're always talking about these detoxes and all of this. The first detox is go to the bathroom, just let it out. Like, what are you holding on to? And I think that's a metaphor for a lot of holding on to other things as well in life.
It's a perfect metaphor. It is, and get rid of it. And the more constant and regular you are, the healthier you feel. You feel better that day. And it's not just like a tummy ache or a pain in the stomach. It's everything feels better. Everything feels lighter. Everything feels clearer.
Well, you can think better, for crying out loud. Like, I know that if I miss one, I'm like, I'm groggy. I feel like I want to lay down. It's just, it's very disturbing, and it can cause skin breakouts. So people, talking about, this is, autotoxicity, right? So we're, people having things like psoriasis and eczema and, all kinds of dry skin, acne conditions, could absolutely, be thwarted by just letting it out.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's so much being released now on the study of the gut-mind connection, and the connection that the body and the mind has with the gut, and how central it is to basic health,
right?
And central nervous health, and just so much to do with the gut,
right?
And health begins there, and to maintain regularity and constant, it's detrimental to
right.
healthy.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here and make and just make I don't know if it's not really a prediction, but an assessment of these people who suddenly drown their children and just like fly off the handle. I think that there's more than meets the eye. And I would not doubt if these people are, whether it's sleep deprived or just circulating toxins throughout their body, you can't think straight.
Yeah.
And I think we've all been in that situation where we did something where we're like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. It's like,
right.
Think twice. We don't just do stuff willy nilly. A lot of times there's a genesis for it, and it very well could be related to our elimination issues. So can you describe to me what's the difference between when we go to the bathroom in the standard sit down toilet versus the stooping squatty potty?
Sure. So, of course, that's my specialty is bathroom posture, and bathroom posture is so important to elimination. And anatomically, we're all designed the same, right? Mm-hmm. We're designed to squat when we poop, when we eliminate, and it's simple anatomy. At the end of the colon is a kink, and it's there to maintain continence, and it's formed with a muscle called the puborectalis muscle. And when we're standing or sitting, it's not relaxed. And only squatting will relax that muscle and allow for more complete elimination. So you can control your sphincter, right? But you can't I can't sit there and go, okay, I'm going to relax my puborectalis muscle. Right. That's a mechanical thing and not a nervous thing. And so when you squat, it mechanically relaxes the bowel and makes elimination easier. It's pretty simple. I mean, you look at children when they're in diapers, right?
Right.
They're over there squatting behind the couch or squatting in the corner. They're not, they squat.
Yeah. And
2/3 of the world still squats. We're actually the minority as far as total population worldwide that we sit. And, the toilet came about for a lot of reasons. Sanitary, it's convenient. It's mostly sanitary, right? It gets rid of our waste in a clean way that we don't have to think about it. But it has one major fault, and it requires we sit. And it's about that time that we started sitting that we came upon new diseases, appendicitis and all these other things that are caused from not eliminating completely. And so Squatty Potty is making the link to those as being it's a whole puzzle, but part of that puzzle may be a mechanical thing. And if you simply change your posture, you'd be surprised what happens.
Right. And it makes so much sense because in an age where people are starting to doubt all the interventions from big pharma and the medical this and the, we're going to slice you open and do whatever. Doesn't it make sense to start with the mechanical before we even move on to supplements? And that side. I mean, it makes so much, it's so much less, it's like the least invasive thing you can do for your body is to just start with your mechanics.
And in fact, we did just get FDA clearance to talk about how squatting does change the mechanics. So I'm able to now preach that everything I've been talking now is now in empirical evidence that suggests that squatting makes elimination easier. So, and we're able to talk about the relaxing of the puborectalis muscle because studies have shown that when you're squatting, the angle is greater.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. And when you say preach, I really want to see your podium that you preach from, by the way.
I'm an evangelical squatter, honey.
Well, what you said is really true. When I lived in France back in the late 80s, and there you would still see quite frequently, actually, the stooping toilets in a lot of places. And that's France. That's, and I'm not even talking about going to Morocco or something.
No, yeah, they're in Spain and Italy as well. They call it the Turkish toilet.
Yeah, I didn't see them as much in Spain and Italy back then, but France, I lived in the south of France, and perhaps it's from the Tunisian connection and so on. But we had a lot of them there. And then, of course, when I was in Turkey, I saw them there all the time. Didn't see them, like I said, when I lived in Spain, I didn't see them so much. which was right around the same time. But yeah, France had a ton of them. And but what part of this is you're reminding me of as well is that when, because I lived in the town of Avignon, which is where the old Pope's palace, when Rome had split, the Pope's palace, there was a Pope headed up in Avignon as well as in Rome.
Right.
And so, but there they have the kind of, throne room where it's just sitting up over the river. And, that's where the Pope would go. Right. And they show you that. And even in ancient Rome, they show the sitting toilet. What was there you talked about the what they thought of as hygiene. Personally, I think that the squatting in its own way is much cleaner because you don't touch anything. Yeah. But, was it a sign of prestige as well? Is that what this is all about? Yeah.
So it became, in our culture, squatting became regarded as uncivilized. And, it's because the elite could afford the newfangled sitting toilets and they became the norm. And, I think it's just the direction of the way we went because of the invention of the toilet, and people followed. And, but we realize now that what probably wasn't the best way to go.
Right. Okay. So then, when people were able to get the water closet in the house, it just kind of continued like, hey, I'm special now. I can sit just like the king.
No, yeah, exactly. Now we can and it was nicer, right? Because you weren't squatting. It was more comfortable. It seemed better. However, there were a lot of people that weren't able to go as well, so they would use a stool to sit and use in front of their toilet.
Right.
So, but we do a lot of things that we now know are to be better. I call them cultural genic diseases, diseases that came about because of culture, like, high heels and bras. And I don't know. It's just, there's things that people do because it's culturally acceptable that probably aren't, healthy.
Right. So talking about, I know people, I'm not naming anybody, but I know people who they go to the bathroom and they're like, you're like, okay, just go to the bathroom. They're like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. And they're walking around and you're like, just go already. What are you waiting for? And they're looking around for a magazine or something to bring into the toilet. Okay. So which was, is telling me you're going to be there for a while. Right. So,
right.
If you're reading Game of Thrones on the throne, you're in there too long, in my opinion. So
I remember as a child looking for anything to read while I was in there, and I think it's just I'd read the back of a tampon box, right? It's like, and now we have our cell phones, so we're Facebooking and we're doing other things.
No wonder everybody's so angry on Facebook.
Yeah, but no, it should be something that is done quickly, and I think that habit's pretty hard to break for a lot of people, though.
Right.
A lot of times that's just a quiet time. I have 4 kids, so how do you get time away from the children?
Right. That's my excuse.
Sneak into the toilet.
Yeah, totally.
But that doesn't mean you need to be in there pushing and grunting and groaning the whole time. It should be done in a minute or less, right? Just
right.
Quick and done. And the problem is that we're not getting the right nutrition, or we're not doing the right posture, and it's taking a lot longer than it should be. So where does that come from? How do we fix that? You know? And the Squatty Potty is just a tool. It's not the cure-all, but it definitely, you can see the reviews online and see how it's really changed people's lives, from everywhere from IBS to, constipation, hemorrhoids, all those things that come about from not eliminating correctly. It's an excellent tool to help people with that.
Speaking of which, what is one of the best endorsements that you got from, just when I say endorsements, really a testimonial that you've gotten over the years about how this changed does anything stand out in your mind about how you changed somebody's life, especially when you're talking about things like IBS and Crohn's or whatever that the doctors say cannot be effectively dealt with?
No. So one of my favorite is actually comes from Howard Stern.
He was the reason why we reached out to you. I was in the hardware store and they were playing it on a loop, and I'm like, I need this guy on my show.
So he went on for 30 minutes about, and he's big on poop. He really likes his pooping time.
Yeah.
And he went on for 30 minutes, and it culminated with what he said was the best shit of my life. And it really is. So, we get so many people that have problems with constipation or hemorrhoids, and I get how the Squatty Potty helps, but for the person who doesn't suffer, it really it's ubiquitous. A good bowel movement feels great.
Yeah.
And Howard achieved that like no other with the Squatty Potty. He goes, it was full, it was complete, it was one and then done, and I'm gone, right? Like, no more hanging around. There's no more, Klingons or, all those other things that we don't like.
I thought I was the only one that said Klingons.
It's just like a one and then done, and he just said it was amazing. So that was a great testimonial on just the average Joe taking a good poo, and it felt really good. And thank you, Squatty Potty. I love my Squatty Potty. Right.
So yeah, and that was actually one of my questions, because do you think that people could be constipated and not know it? Because I think a lot of people, they don't know that they're possibly constipated. They don't know what their transit time is from when they ate their, sandwich, ham sandwich, let's say, at lunch yesterday, that, maybe it should be out by now.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would say that if you're not going, I like to say at least once a day.
Yeah.
Some people say you should go every time you eat, but at least once a day. Some doctors are like, oh, every 3 days is fine, but I don't know about that.
I don't think so.
Personally, I don't believe that. If I go every 3 days, I'm not happy.
Yeah, that's not a good place to be.
No, so it's not.
So what do you consider normal transit time? Like, I always tell people 24 to 36 hours. What do you, if somebody does the beet test, and I know you know what the beet test is, you eat a shit ton of beets and then you see where it comes out.
I'm a 24 or under hour type person. It depends on what it is, right? So some things will go through quicker, but I would say at least 24 hours.
Yeah. See, I tend to lean on the other side because I see a lot of people who aren't digesting their food. And so they think that they're not constipated because, it's coming out all the time. But you know what? You saw everything that you ate. And I'm not just talking about corn. You know, there's like lettuce leaves and other things floating in the toilet. That's not good either.
Yeah. A good reference for a good, healthy poo. And I am a big proponent of the look before you flush.
Yes. Well, my mom was a nurse, so she taught us early on, look in the toilet and make sure there's nothing strange going on, blood, whatever.
And a good reference for that is the Bristol stool chart, right? So learn that, and if you're not in that, 3 to 4 range, there's something wrong with either your diet or, a lot of other things, but the probiotics could be. Your system could be out of whack, but that's it's called the Bristol stool chart. And I refer everyone to it, and I said this is where you should be. And a lot of people are on the diarrhea side, and that's just as uncomfortable and just as unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, it's a great chart to look at to reference to what your poop should look like.
Right. Yeah. And by the way, I have to say, a shout out for diarrhea because seriously, there again, women, because we're so blinded by the whole concept of weight loss. Like, you're not healthy unless you're skinny, and that's just BS. But the thing that drives me nuts is when there's the women who won't crap, and then there's the women who say, "Oh, I love it when I have diarrhea. I feel so much lighter, and like I lose 2 pounds every time I go," and that's not good either. So don't, we need to understand what good poop looks like, and it's not runny, it's not urinating out your ass. Okay?
Right.
So
I love the chart.
Yeah, we'll make sure to get a copy of that chart on the website on your page.
Yeah.
And so now this is something that I know is going through people's minds right now, because they're like, okay, so what he's saying makes sense, but I'm too freaking cheap. What, can I just grab my child's step stool or a stack of phone books that nobody uses anymore?
You know what I say? Absolutely.
Okay.
Do it. See if this concept works for you, because what happens? This is the process. Is people try a stool, and the stool works great. It's there. That's what my mom used before we made the Squatty Potty, was a stool. But the stool wasn't perfect. The Squatty Potty is really designed specifically for the task. It's like, like using the wrong tool, like trying to cut steak with a butter knife. Mm-hmm. And you can do it, but it's not clean and quick and easy. With the Squatty Potty, it's perfectly designed for the task. So you've got the right width, the right height, the right angle, and it tucks under your toilet, and it's more comfortable.
Right.
So a stool is great, but the Squatty Potty is that much better.
Yeah, because it also helps you to position your feet where you want your feet, as opposed to a stool where you're kind of locked into, what is it, like an 8 to 12 inch in front, right? So this wraps around the toilet, so you have some leeway.
The toilet, yeah. So you're it's designed, like I said, specifically for the task, and it really is all that much better. In a bind, if I'm at a friend's house or something, and around, and I've used stools before, and it's just not the same.
Right.
But it's better than putting your feet on the floor. So I say try it, and then if you like it, it's $25. You can get it on Amazon for $25 delivered.
Wow.
It's not a big investment, and it's people will spend twice that for a supplement for a month.
I was just about to say, people will look for anything to circumvent that and end up spending way more money.
Yeah, and it lasts your whole life.
Yeah.
Mine's 5 years old. Looks great.
I'll have to come and inspect sometime. So, is there an ideal height or requisite height that people, when you make your Squatty Potty, are people stacking them? Do they, do some people need to bend deeper? Is it?
Well, it does have two heights. So, but that just generally, depends on the size of your toilet. Most people have a standard toilet, so we have a 7-inch. But those that have like a taller toilet, like one of those new comfort height toilets, which actually takes us further away from the way we're supposed to be. Again, we're going for comfort instead of health. So, then we have a 9-inch. So, but both will work. Both work for anyone. But if you really want to nail it, measure the height of your toilet and then get the right size of Squatty Potty.
Okay. So there's not like some people will find that they need to stick another Squatty Potty on top of the first Squatty Potty.
No, I mean, we've got a Squatty Potty for that, so it's just a little bit taller.
Okay. Yeah, I just because I can see people possibly thinking like, well, how do I know if I buy one if it's going to be the right height? I might need mine taller, even if my, just because of my height or my the kink in my sphincter,
Right.
So
generally, I mean, if you really want to dial it in, you could probably get a little pickier, but generally you'll find that the 7-inch works great. And if you're more limber, more flexible, get the 9-inch. They both work.
Okay. So you mentioned before that the FDA has now given you clearance to talk about the fact that eliminating will improve your life. Oh, geez, I just broke something here. Will improve your life. Have they been a pain in the ass otherwise, or have they been pretty?
As long as we don't reference disease with it, they don't want us making claims to cancer. They don't, and I get that. I understand that. That evidence isn't here. But the evidence is clear that squatting is an advantageous angle, and that Squatty Potty relaxes the puborectalis muscle and makes elimination easier. So you make your own conclusions from that. If you're eliminating easier, that means less constipation, that means less straining, which causes hemorrhoids. It's it's pretty clear that it's not just, there's empirical evidence that shows that squatting is healthier.
Right. Awesome. So, just to play devil's advocate here, we talked about Howard Stern. Did you ever have any like strange customer complaints? Something that you were like, you've got to be shitting me.
There's always something. We get a lot of calls from the men that don't know what to do with their wiener while they're using the Squatty Potty, because they feel like it points out, and they
just give them a roll of duct tape. Just tape it up.
Well, just push it down. Just tuck it in. We get a lot of strange calls. We really do. It's kind of funny.
I can tell you're thinking of something really specific that you're afraid to say.
You can tell when somebody's on his. I answer the phones when we get busy. I'm on the phone a lot, so I'm there. Getting the phone calls too, and I just kind of talk them through it. I'm very frank and upfront, like, well, just push it down, but a lot of it, I just say, you know what, you probably want to call your doctor on that one, because we really can't.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Actually, you had alluded to, when we started out, you alluded to the name Squatty Potty. You were afraid that people would think that this was just for children. Do you have plans for my first Squatty Potty?
Oh, yeah. It's called the Squattypotamus. It's a cute little hippopotamus that's going to be out this August.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get them started young.
Yeah, well, that's a big time when potty training is difficult, and that's when most kids develop constipation.
Yeah,
and a lot of it's because their fear of the toilet, and also the posture, and also the diet. But the Squattypotamus is made specifically for kids to help them, less fearful of the toilet, and keep them in that nice squat position they've been using while they've been pooping in their diapers.
Right. Yeah, and even when you see them, pooping in their diapers, a lot of times they do squat.
Yeah, they do. That's what I say.
And I used to stick my kids outside in the summer, just naked, and just let them stoop all over the yard.
I think that's fabulous. But people think that's gross, but I think there is nothing. It should not be gross. It's just human nature. It's who we are, and it's healthy, and it's them learning about their poo, because sometimes there's no connection. You never see your poo as a child,
right?
And you don't know what your butt function's going on, or how it's all wrapped up in a diaper, neat and tidy. And I think there's a disconnect there with how with what really happens and what life is about. And I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. It's it baffles me, because it's like, seriously, you think your shit don't stink? Like, right. Really, it's like that precious to you. You got to fold it up and tie a bow on it, make it all pretty. Like, what is it? Just it is what it is. Let's treat it accordingly. Let's respect it. But it's not. That doesn't mean that it's something that we have to sweep under a rug, so to speak. Like it's not. It's just like you said. It's natural. It's normal. It's what we do. So if somebody listens to this podcast, they say, I'm going to get my Squatty Potty. I'm going to go on Amazon now. I'm going to order my Squatty Potty. What tips do you have for them while they're waiting to get that Squatty Potty in the mail? Is there any exercises? One of the things I've often told people is that they can, like, first thing in the morning when they wake up, is to hug their knees to their chest and just lay down. But sort of like the yoga pose, right? Where you're on your knees and just bend over and stretch your arms out and just sit down on your heels. And
that's a good one.
And just to get your body in that motion, because there's usually something stuck in there after a long sleep. Is there anything that you can recommend that people can do to get the ball rolling?
Yeah. So for those just starting on the squat posture, I would recommend finding a pole or finding something you can grab onto that's stable and actually squatting, and practice getting down and keeping your heels on the ground and stretching that back and getting your body used to a squat. It's such a good posture. Even just it stretches out the lower back, it stretches out your hamstrings, your butt, and it strengthens your thighs, and just getting used to that squat.
Right.
Without actually going, you'll see what will happen. You'll start to go. You'll have to go poo, actually.
And actually, you brought up something really good about that, which is that the low back pain. I do believe that in many cases, low back pain is a metaphor for not eliminating properly. To drive that point home further, in acupressure, there is a point right across your low back, right? It's right on the opposite side of where your navel is. There are points on either side of the spine that when you are constipated, you are supposed to press. And that is right where people are getting their low back pain. So go figure. There's things don't just happen for a reason. You didn't necessarily have the low back pain because of an accident or something. And maybe you did, but you know what? Maybe after that accident, you got a little constipated.
Yeah. The other thing is, it's going to feel weird at first, right? Because you're kind of in a different position, and it's kind of like, well, this is awkward. Give it a minute, give it a week. Stick with it, because after a week you'll go, how did I ever go sitting down? And then when you don't have your Squatty Potty, you'll be like, where's my Squatty Potty?
Yeah, right.
You'll be so used to it, and it becomes so second nature that when you don't have your Squatty Potty, you'll have a difficult time going, and you'll see how much easier it is to go with the Squatty Potty.
Right. So I see that looking at your website, you're addressing not only the mechanical, but you're also helping to help people understand that there may be something else wrong. Maybe they're digesting insufficiently. You have some enzymes, probiotics, addressing those types of deficiencies. Is that? That to me, that's step 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I think now that we have really changed the way people poop.
Yeah.
and that's our mission, is to change the way people poop. And then after that, introduce natural and healthy bathroom supplements that really work, and that are essential, that really help increase the health of the gut and the bowels. And elimination should be comfortable. It should be easy. It should be healthy. It should be, it shouldn't be something we dread. And, we're trying to start that conversation and also provide products that help with that. So, you can see the Good Move product. My mom developed that. She's the queen of constipation. She was constipated for years. This was life-changing for her to discover the Squatty Potty.
Wow.
And she's like, this, she felt it so important that people know her secret, that she started the company Squatty Potty. And, along with my help, I helped her. It was both of our brainchild, but it was her that really got me, because I saw the change in her, and she was just so grateful for and she was, for the difference that it made, but she just wondered why nobody ever told her about toilet posture. In her 60 years old, and never even once heard that she might be pooping wrong.
Right.
And it made such a difference that became her mission.
Right. Well, I do remember, you said your company's 5 years old?
Yeah.
Okay, because I want to say, actually, no, I don't want to say, I will say that years ago, probably, let's see, how old am I now? Oh, God. Okay, about 20 years ago, I had seen something in a natural health magazine. It wasn't a commercially available magazine. It was more like a subscription to a foundation. Actually, it was Price Pottinger. They had something that was a type of squatting stool. Do you know what that was? There was in the 70s and 80s, there was a product called the Well Step. Okay.
And it wasn't it hasn't been available for a while, and it was kind of the first squatting device.
It was a couple $100, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't available when because we were looking for something for her, and there was nothing available.
Okay.
So that's why we created it, and but yeah, we're not the first to talk about this concept. We're not, we didn't invent this concept.
Right.
It didn't come from Squatty Potty. We just created a product that's affordable and available, and started the conversation.
Right. Good for you. I really do. I really do applaud you. And I got to applaud your unicorn concept. Tell me about the unicorn. Who came up with that? Because my husband's an ad exec, and he just thinks it's brilliant.
Well, how do you talk about poop without talking about poop? Because, poop is okay to talk about. Well, when you actually show poop on television or on, video, it's not good. So, it was pitched to us to do ice cream, and a soft serve type ice cream thing. And then unicorns are just so popular right now. And it all just came together through, different people. And it was just a huge coup because so many people have seen that video. It has over 100 million views now.
That's fantastic.
More than anything we've done, that's been the most effective way of talking about it because of the humor.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
It's edutainment.
Yeah, so. It breaks down walls for sure. Because a lot of times, like even just not to constantly talk about my stuff, but even when I wrote my book, I would go to these marketing conferences and people would say, "Who are you? What do you do?" Whatever. And nobody would take me seriously. And of all things, I write a book really because my friend invites me to slaughter roosters at our house. And I was like, well, if you're going to give me all these roosters, I'm going to do something with them. And so, so I write a book, and then all of a sudden everybody wants to be my friend. Like this one guy, he's a friend of my husband's from college. Guy never paid me any time of day. Over the holidays, he texts my husband and says, "Oh, I just saw 2 transvestites in New York City with your wife's book, and I told them I could get them an autograph." And I was like, "What? You never gave me the time of day before." So it is funny how humor will break down those walls, and it'll get your message out there, and it makes it less shameful. Yeah,
and it's super cute. It's fun.
Oh, totally.
And it should be. It shouldn't be serious. It should be fun, and that's why we went. That's why we went there. Well, we did go there.
That's well, I think it's brilliant that you did that, and I commend you for because you had some resistance from your investors. I commend you for getting those guys on board because, like you said, we need to talk about this, and it should not be shameful. And how else are we gonna get through to people?
Yeah.
So for sure, that's
an effective way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is there anything else before I let you go that you'd like to address?
No, I think, just it's about bathroom posture. And I think it's more important than the Squatty Potty is talking about poop, being conscious of it, being conscious of what it looks like and how it feels and all that stuff. My mission is not to sell a ton of Squatty Potties. It's to change the way people poop, and whether they use a stool or whatever, that's fine. But I just want people to talk about this.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah.
Well, keep on trucking or keep on pooping. Thank you so much, and congratulations on making Tuesdays fun again.
Thanks, Adrian.
All right. Okay, this has been Adrian Hugh, the Nutrition Heretic. I am here today with Bobby Edwards. His website is squattypotty.com. That's SQUATTYPOTTY.com. And can we find you also on Facebook?
Facebook, Instagram.
You got pictures?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I hope it's of the unicorn
Twitter,
and the stools only.
all over the interwebs. So yeah, we're there.
All right. Thank you so much for spending this time with us and for enlightening us on this really important and not discussed enough topic.
My pleasure.
Thanks. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The
Nutrition Heretic podcast is a production of Savor the Journey LLC. Our audio editor is Nikola Popovich. Our podcast manager is Crystal McLean, and our operations manager is Linda Hansen. I'm your host, Adrian Hugh, the Nutrition Heretic. You can find us at nutritionheretic.com, where you can download the Nutrition Heretic's free shit list of 7 health foods to avoid like the plague. You can also listen to previous episodes at nutritionheretic.com/podcast. Be sure to like us on social media for updates. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/nutritionheretic and on Twitter at NutriHeretic. Contact us with show ideas, questions, or if you just want to be a guest. And don't forget to rate our podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. Thanks.